Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of JF Analytics, a new video scouting blog brought to you by Just Football, featuring data, scouting, and analysis of players around the world of football. Thanks for joining us for this episode. Check out the links below. You can see at Just Football on Twitter, bit.ly/JF Analytics, or the website just-football.com, and give us a follow, or hit the subscribe button below on YouTube. And it would be great to have you follow us. This is going to be the second episode, and I'm going to paint the scene for you now for who this player is. So, on the 19th of October 2016, Marco Verratti played 90 minutes in the Champions League group stages against FC Basel. Just 9 days earlier, a 13-year-old midfield player scores 7 goals for Rennes under-15s in a 23-0 cup win for the academy. Less than 3 years later, the two players would be sharing the same pitch, with the under-15-year-old back in 2016 getting the better of the great Marco Verratti. Yes, indeed, the player I'm talking about at Stade Rennais is none other than Eduardo Camavinga, one of the most exciting young talents in world football today. Now, Camavinga, I'm very excited to be bringing you this player. Watched a lot of him play for Rennes. One of the hottest talents in world football, as we say. A lot of people watching him, a lot of clubs. There's a real buzz about this player, and it's really, really exciting to be able to report on him and tell you a bit more about him for those who may not know him. So let's get into him and look more deeply into his career and his statistics and who he is in general. So Camavinga, born in 2002, November 2002, he's a 17-year-old player, one of the youngest players in Rennes history. In fact, the youngest player to play in Ligue for Stade Rennais. He broke the record, and in April 2019, he became the first 2002 born player to play in Europe's top 5 leagues. He made his debut for the club at 16 years old, 4 months and 27 days. He's a central midfield player, can play D-mid, C-mid or number 8. You can see on these graphics we've put together, Rennes have played different formations this season, a 5-3-2 being one of them, and more recently a 4-3-3. Camavinga has been playing as either that defensive midfielder in as number 6, or he can play as the number 8 in a more offensive role, which he's played more recently as the season's progressed and he has developed. He's come through Rennes Academy, and his market value is 33 million according to Transfermarkt, although let's be honest, even in today's climate, that could well double or even triple his value, such is his incredible young talent. He's a combative midfield player, left-footed, came through the club's academy, was given his first pro contract in December 2018, and he bypassed Rennes under-19s and went straight into the first team. That's how good he was. A closer look at his statistics then, his career stats. He's played 43 games for Rennes, 3,147 minutes in total in all competitions. He's played Europa League football for the club as well. Total of 1 goal and 2 assists. Of course, he's a defensive midfield player, as we showed you just now. You wouldn't really expect him to be getting goals and assists just yet at such a young age. In terms of his statistics in Ligue 1, he's got great close control. He's an impressive and mature player given his age, and these are just some of the key metrics we've pulled out for you to give an overview of him. You know, recoveries per minute, you can see there, 8.67, the number of accurate forward passes he's made, defensive duels won. He's the 7th best player in Ligue 1 for defensive duels per 90 minutes, top 7 in the league last season. Incredible for such a young talent. Counter-pressing recoveries per 90, he's in the top 20 in Ligue 1 for counter-pressing recoveries, you can see there. Successful tackles, 4.65 per 90 minutes, 89% pass completion. He really is statistically incredibly exciting. So let's move on to his strengths. What makes this player so good? Why do you need to know about him? And who is he? The first place we looked is a great website called footballslices.com, and on this graphic you can see the level that this player has. And to be honest, you have to say that the stats at this age are quite incredible. Now, this is a graphic which shows you all players in Europe's top 5 leagues with 10 starts minimum, playing as a central or defensive midfielder, and their percentile rank in terms of their stats. So the better, the more full the bar, the better they are. And you can see for metrics such as successful tackles in blue, tackle success percentage, Camavinga incredibly is in the top 100 percentile and 91st percentile. So what this essentially means is in Europe's top 5 leagues, he is in the top 1% of all players in Europe's top 5 leagues for tackles. He's greater than or equal to every player for tackle success percentages in Europe's top 5 leagues for the season just gone. Tackle success percentage is in the 91st percentile. That means he's in the top 9% of all players for tackle success percentage. Pass completion, 82nd percentile, top 18% of all players in Europe's top 5 leagues. This is all players for someone who's 17 years old. And you can see in yellow as well, long pass completion percentage is in the 95th percentile. Again, top 5% of players for long pass completion percentages across Europe's top 5 leagues. Statistics from WhoScored.com and StatsBomb. Really quite incredible. What we've done, we have a partnership with Y-Scout, who are our partners, and we've looked at the defensive contributions he's put together. We've looked at his key metrics and defensive contributions first. So this is a graphic looking at his defensive duels per 90 against interceptions, adjusted for possession. You can see Camavinga here, and the bigger the circle on this graphic, the better in terms of the number of interceptions, the higher number of interceptions. This is players in all positions, so it includes defenders, includes attackers, includes all players. And Camavinga ranks, as you can see, well above average, one of the best players in the league for defensive duels per 90 minutes, and very well above average for interceptions in general. And as I say again, have to keep repeating it, he is only 17 years old. Here he is, good example there, interception, plays the ball, not the greatest of ball. This is May 2019, his first 90 minutes as a 16-year-old. And in this game he has a really good battle with Sangare. There's a tackle that he makes, wins the ball. And in this game he shows no nerves, gets involved with the physical side of things. You know, he's not afraid to get involved, he's got good close control. And he has a really, really good solid game against Toulouse at the back end of last season. Keeping things simple in a number 6 position, good clean passing. A fairly low-key debut, but overall he has a big personality that he shows in the games, and he's only got better as he's gone along. This is fast forward to August 2019. He gets a start against PSG, the champions, the biggest club in the league, one of the biggest teams in Europe. And at the time, he's the only 16-year-old starter in any of the top 5 leagues in Europe. As I say, one of the only 2002 born players playing in European football. Rennes hadn't beat PSG since 2011 at this point. The game begins, and this is an example of his mature defensive positioning for someone so young. Camavinga is disciplined, he's tactically aware, he knows when to press, he knows when to hold his position, and this is a great example of it here. So 3rd minute in, you know, he's playing against really, really top players here. He's got no nerves at all. You'd think he'd be nervous, hot atmosphere. Marquinhos is on the ball here, and what's going to happen is the player here, I think it's Draxler, is going to come into possession. Camavinga's here. As the ball's played, Camavinga closes his man down, gets him with his back to goal, just presses him and chases him, harries him into having to backtrack and retreat. That's what he does so well. Forces him back, shields his midfield. Rennes can keep the defence solid. There's a gap in behind here, but Camavinga forces him back with his pressing and chasing. And then what's so good is, as soon as he's allayed the danger, he forces the player to go back to his defence. Camavinga drops straight back into his midfield position, keeps his tactical discipline and his shape, and maintains the tactical balance of the team. There you go, there's the 3 in midfield. They play a 5-3-2 in this game, and the ball has to be rotated. PSG have to start all over again. Camavinga's pressing there, averts any danger. We look at examples of his passing, how he keeps it ticking, his passing aptitude. This is all players in Ligue, midfielders, to have played a minimum of 1,300 minutes. And the metrics we're looking at here are forward passes, accurate percentage for forward passes, and accurate passes in total. So you can see Camavinga here, his percentage of accurate forward passes is well above average, one of the best in the league again, and his percentage of accurate passes is just below 90%. So he really is in the top bracket of midfielders in the league, and the bigger the circle here, the more minutes played. So that tells you, he's played a lot of minutes, more than 2,000, and he still ranks extremely highly for forward passing accuracy and passing accuracy in general. In this game against PSG, a great example of this passing, he completes 100% of his passes in the first 75 minutes. Again, he's only 16 in this game against one of the best teams in Europe. It really is remarkable. But let's go back to the Toulouse match. There he is, just highlighted. He gets the ball, example of his progressive passing, breaking the lines with his pass, 3 men there, sees the pass, 1 touch, and this is a really good opportunity. With a better ball, they could be in. We'll watch it again. Here he is. This is his first full game for the club. He's aware, takes the space, breaks the line with 3 men there, 1 pass, lovely execution, and a better ball there, and they're in. They lose possession, but Camavinga at 16 there, lovely incisive pass on his left foot. This is the analysis of him in 2019-20 across all appearances in Ligue. So there you can see his dribbles, the amount of dribbles he's made where he keeps the ball, dribbles followed by a shot in black, dribbles followed by a goal, his ball progression, progressive runs in black there. You can see him making runs from deeper into that final third, penetrating runs, and also progressive passes. He can pass it, plays his passes on that left foot of his into the penalty area, into the final third. And then, of course, defensive duels won in his own third. He's very adept defensively. A lot of defensive duels here, protecting that back 5 or back 4 of his in his own third, sliding tackles, usually interceptions or defensive duels. Just shows you his all-round game. And what really impresses me about Camavinga is that mature defensive positioning. For someone so young, he's tactically aware. He's got the 4 corners. He knows when to press. He's got the technique. He's got the maturity, psychologically, and he's got the physicality as well, the athleticism to be able to execute great body movement and shape, the way he moves his hips, his technical ability. He really does have so much going for him. Here's an example. Against PSG again, gets the ball, he's 16 years old, on the turn, body shape, sees the pass, takes 3 men out, continues his run, takes 3 men out of the game with that dribble, wins the foul. Brilliant play. Just shows you an example of what he can do in terms of dribbling, progressive running, progressive dribbling, the turn, and the confidence that he has to take on his man. Here's another example. This is in the 66th minute, PSG again. Now in this game, PSG, they play a 3-5-2 formation, but it's a really, really offensive lineup from Thomas Tuchel. Now, Rennes haven't beaten PSG since 2011 in this game. They've gone back 9 years nearly. PSG in their mind are thinking, well, let's be really offensive, and they do play offensive. They have Di Maria and Draxler in a 3-man midfield with Verratti, and they have a 3-5-2 with the fullbacks very high. But what they do is, with 2 men up front, Cavani and Kylian Mbappe, they push Draxler and Di Maria forward, and then they also push the fullbacks, in this case Bernat, and on the other end Thomas Meunier. They push them forward. So essentially what they have is a 6-man forward line. Marquinhos pushes up into midfield alongside Verratti, and then you've got 2 at the back, so it's almost like a 2-2-6 formation. But what they do really is they actually underestimate Rennes and Camavinga in this game. They think maybe they can, they don't have to look out for the 16-year-old. But what happens is, whenever possession breaks, and this happens a few times, Camavinga is the outlet. He's the man who is the counter-attacking player. When the offence is broken, he's the one who turns and sets Rennes on their way. This is an example of it. He opens his body up, he's there to receive the pass, he's in space, the ball breaks down, and off he goes. Takes 5 men out with a progressive run, fantastic dribbling, and pushes forward. We'll run it forward and you can see, ball breaks, PSG have overloaded, Camavinga is not shy at all, fantastic speed, acceleration, there he is, wins a yellow card, gets his team out of danger, gains about 40 yards on that counter-attack. Really impressive. And then here he is, 48th minute, a superb assist. Rennes go on to win the game 2-1, and Camavinga is the man with the assist for the winner. Look at that floated ball, fantastic pinpoint. Del Castillo, brilliant pass, technical ability. PSG had beaten Camavinga, central to it all. What we've done now is we've put together a statistical comparison of Camavinga against his peers in Ligue. So this is a comparison against 4 players: Kevin Strootman of Marseille, Clément Grenier at Rennes, and Marco Verratti at PSG. Now Camavinga, the first columns you need to look at are columns 2 and 3. Camavinga against Grenier. Now Grenier is an experienced player. He's been in Ligue 1 for many seasons. He's also played in Italy. Camavinga, at 16 years old, pushes Grenier out of the team. And if you look at them, this is a comparison of all midfield metrics. We've looked at the key metrics for midfielders. He beats Clément Grenier, an experienced Ligue 1 professional, in every single metric bar 4. Same number of goals, slightly less passes per 90 maybe, slightly less key passes per 90 and progressive passes per 90, but in every other area Camavinga comes out on top. Assists, expected assists, pass completion percentage, his defensive duels per 90, his defensive duels won, the number of interceptions he makes per 90, the number of counter-pressing recoveries more than double, 5.24, nearly more than double. Progressive runs, 1.64, dribbles per 90 more, successful dribbles. He comes out on top of Grenier in every area, and what essentially happens is Grenier loses his position in the team to Camavinga as the season progresses, and that is why their numbers of minutes played differ. He eventually relegates Grenier to the bench. Then we compare him to Kevin Strootman, a top experienced player in Ligue 1. He's played in many different leagues. He's a Dutch international player, very experienced. The 17-year-old again comes out on top in many areas. Assists, expected assists, pass completion, defensive duels per 90 again, much better. Counter-pressing recoveries better. Progressive runs per 90, 1.64 against 0.92. Dribbles per 90, more than double, 1.36 to 0.46. So he's dribbling more, he's making more progressive runs, he's counter-pressing better, he's completing more passes, he's getting more assists, and successful dribbles as well, percentage a lot higher. And that's against Strootman, who's a very respectable midfielder in Ligue 1. The final comparison is Verratti. Well, obviously Verratti is the cream of the cream. He is the best player, the best midfielder in Ligue 1. PSG is at a top club, one of the best midfielders probably in world football. But even then, Camavinga doesn't come out too badly. In many areas, he's played more minutes, he's scored more goals, again more defensive duels per 90, again wins more percentage of his defensive duels, again more counter-pressing recoveries, more progressive runs per 90, better successful dribble percentage rate, and more aerial duels as well per 90. So although Verratti does come out on top, in terms of passes per 90, for example, 94% completion rate, he really is an elite midfielder. Camavinga does not, against a top midfielder of world football, he doesn't look too out of his depth. That really does tell you so much about this 17-year-old's potential. Later on in the season, against Montpellier this is the last game of the season, in fact, before the league shut down. He really comes into his own now as the season's gone on. Here he is, he receives the ball in the defensive midfield area, turns, great body shape again, moves his hips, high technical quality, progresses his run, picks it up again, beats 2 men on that left foot of his, so lovely and crisp on his left foot, plays the pass, he gets the assist, 3-0, and Rennes beat Montpellier 5-0 in this game, and it just showed you his development. And how much he's come along even as the season has progressed. He's got more license to go forward with another player sitting in there for him in a 4-3-3, and this is his first goal for the club in Ligue 1. Onto his right foot, 89th minute against Lyon, fantastic goal to help them get Champions League football. Now who does he compare to? I think similar players. I think on that left foot of his, he reminds me a little bit of Nemanja Matic maybe. He might remind you of a sort of Michael Carrick with the passes he makes. Emmanuel Petit as well, who was a very, very good player for Arsenal in that midfield. Similar sort of body style maybe and shape, and on his left foot. He's been compared to Fernando Redondo, the Real Madrid man. Former Real Madrid great on that left foot of his, again a similar player in terms of technique and left-footed prowess. Now here's some quotes, they're in French, I'll translate some of them, but that we've put together from his manager and a few others. First quote from Julien Stéphan says, "It's rare to see such a young player capable of performing so well, so quickly amongst professionals. He really is a player with strong potential. He's someone who's intelligent, he observes a lot, and he asks a lot of questions. He always tries to understand things. And then Steven Nzonzi, who was signed by Rennes to complement him, he says he's a very, very good young player. What he is doing at his age, it will be very interesting to play with him. At 17 years old, I was playing in the reserves, and it was already difficult. So what he is doing in Ligue is very interesting. And Julien Stéphan, on the multi-million-dollar question at the moment, can he play for Real Madrid? Yes, he has the ability. In the medium term, I see him evolving in a club of that high level. He has all the qualities to play one day for such a big club. So the question mark before we conclude is, what can he improve? Well, there are a few areas he can improve. His manager's asked him to improve his right foot, his shooting as well, his long-range passing maybe could improve as time goes on. But, you know, as a 17-year-old, it'd be quite critical to pick out points of his game really too much. The main thing really is consistency. You know, can he be more than a one-season wonder maybe? This is only one season, and in football we do tend to build players up a bit too much sometimes. He's had a fantastic, unbelievable first season. As you can see, he's topping metrics across Europe's top 5 leagues, let alone in his own league. But can he do that more consistently? That will be the big question. But for me, I have to say, I've covered Ligue 1 for many years as an analyst. I haven't seen a player so consistently promising at such a young age. He really is. I think we really are talking about a genuine potential phenomenon here. He really does have fantastic potential. He's got good concentration, his range of passing, his weight of passing. On his left foot of his, he has a lot going for him. Of course, the question is, what next? And that is what everyone's asking now, as it happens in modern football. Well, he does look suited to a team like Rennes, I think, at the moment, where less pressure, he can play at ease. You know, there's no signs of him struggling to adapt at all. He makes it look easy, in fact, in Ligue. I'd like to see him stay at the club for 1 to 2 more seasons at least. You know, the manager said he wants him to stay for 1 more season. You know, I'd like to see him stay till at least 20 maybe. He's not even 18 yet. Help Rennes maybe in the Champions League now that they've qualified. That's a big step for him in European football. Maybe get an international cap. You know, start his international career for France. He's declared to play for France. He's got a long way to go in his career, which will hopefully be a successful one. But there are big clubs looking at him. Real Madrid there, Barcelona, Manchester City, Bayern Munich. I think he does have the ability to eventually one day play for a club like Real Madrid. I could imagine him at Real Madrid. There have been big rumours. Zidane apparently wants him in that team in the future. And he has shown such a strong rate of progression so quickly that you can imagine him playing there. There's talks of him being the new Redondo, and maybe he can be at Real Madrid one day. But for now, I'd really like to see him stay at Rennes, hone his craft, get better, become a bit more of a, cult hero there in his hometown team, his academy club, and keep developing. There he is, smiling face, Eduardo Camavinga. He really is a potential phenomenon, and I'm so excited about his potential. I think he can be really, really genuinely a top player if he continues to stay healthy, stay fit, stay focused, keep learning, remain ambitious. He's apparently very ambitious according to his manager. He's got the abilities to go to the top. So that'll be all. Thank you so much for watching episode 2. Hope you've enjoyed it, and our deep dive into Eduardo Camavinga of Stade Rennais. My name is Jonathan Faduba. You can hit the subscribe button below. You can also catch me on Twitter at justjffootball on the screen there, or bit.ly/jfanalytics. Subscribe on YouTube for more videos. I'd love you to drop a comment now and let us know who you think we should cover next, and let us know what you think of Eduardo Camavinga. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.